All right, let's review for this chapter 4 test coming up. We'll get right into it. So, simplifying matrices, so you need to add, subtract, multiply, do scalar multiplication, all that good stuff. So, we'll quickly review this. So, when you're subtracting, first of all, your matrices have to have the same dimensions. So, these are both 2 by 2 matrices, so we can go ahead and subtract them in this case. So really simple, you just subtract corresponding numbers. So -4 minus -1 here is going to get us a -3. And then we got 3 minus 4 for -1. 2 minus -6 is 8. And 1 minus -1 is 2. So pretty standard there. Next we have a couple things. We got addition. And we got a scalar 5 out here. Now notice our addition's in parentheses, so we always do the parentheses first, right? So we got to remember we have this 5, so let's not forget that. And then we just add corresponding numbers. So again, we can add these. They're both 1 row by 4 columns. So -3 plus -6 is -9. And then -6 plus -6 is going to be -12. 0 plus 0 is 0, and -4 plus -4 is -8. So then we take everything times 5, and so -45, -60, 0, and -40. So pretty simple stuff there. Okay, next we're going to do multiplication, if possible. So first let's figure out if we can even do it, right? So first you want to write the dimensions. So dimensions are always rows and then columns. So we have a 1, 2, 3 row by 1, 2 column. And then we have a 2 by 2. So in order to multiply two matrices, these two here have to match up, which they do. So columns in the first match rows of the second. So we're going to get a 3 by 2 matrix because that's what we have left here and here. So we're going to have 3 rows by 2 columns, which is just like we had in this one. So when you multiply matrices, okay, so sometimes it helps to kind of give yourself the spaces that you're going to need so you can kind of keep everything organized. Hopefully my handwriting isn't too sloppy today. All right, so if we want row 1, column 1, we're going to take row 1 times column 1. So that means we got 1 times 1, which is going to be 1, and then 6 times -5, which is -30. So we combine those, we add them, we get -29. All right, now we're still in row 1, but column 2. So we got row 1 times column 2. So 1 times 4 would be 4. And then 6 times 6 is 36. So adding those, we would get 40. Okay, now we're in row 2, column 2. So now we take row 2 times, row 2, column 1. So we're going to take row 2 times column 1. So -1 times 1 is -1. And then 3 times -5 is -15. So we get -16. All right, now row 2, column 2, so this one and this one. 1 times -4 is -4. And then 3 times 6 is 18. -4 and 18 make 14. It's kind of an ugly 14, oh well. Row 3, column 1, so row 3 times column 1. 3 times 1, 3. 3 times -5 is -15. 3 and -15, so -12. And then finally, row 3 times the last column. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 6 is 18. 12 and 18 give us an answer of 30. So that would be our answer here. On this next problem, let's see if we can multiply it. It's 2 by 2. This is a 3 rows by 2 columns. Again, it's always rows, then columns. So now this one and this one don't match. So we can't multiply it. We would call it undefined. I'm really bad at writing on this thing, so I apologize. Hopefully you got your volume turned up so you can at least hear what I should be writing. All right, solve each system, using Cramer's rule. So part of doing Cramer's rule is finding a determinant, right? So step one is you take your coefficient matrix. So that would be 6, 3, 6, -1. And we have to find its determinant. So we take -6, because we're doing 6 times -1, and then minus the other diagonal, so minus 18. So that's going to give us a determinant of -24. All right. So now we got that one. We're going to go and try to find x and y. So for x, what happens is we replace the x column here with our constants, our -15 and our -3. We leave the y column alone, and we calculate that determinant. So we would have 15 minus -9. So it's really plus 9, so we would get 24. You take that and you divide by what you got in that first determinant. So this one always goes on the bottom. So -24, so x is going to be -1. Then for y, we leave the x's alone, so 6 and 6. And then we change the y's to the -15 and -3. So that determinant, we have -18 there. When you take 6 times -3, and then -15 times 6, so that would be a -90. So that gives us a -108 divided by -24. And so let's see, I should probably grab my calculator. Gives us an answer of 4.5 for y. So here's x, there, and then here is y. All right, next one, using Cramer's rule again. So on this one, when you take the coefficient matrix, you get -3 and 3, -5, 5. And when you take the determinant, it's -15 minus a -15, which is 0. So when this happens, you're going to have 0 on the bottom of your fraction, right? So this tells you it's going to be a different situation. Either it's going to be infinite solutions or it's going to be no solutions. So infinite solutions, we're looking for 0 over 0. So let's see if we get that. So for x, we'll put -12 and 5 in here, and then 3, 5. So that would be -60 minus 15, so -75. So it would be that over 0. And then if we do, so that was x. Then if we do y, and we replace the second two, so -3, -5, and then -12, 5, we'll get -15 plus, or sorry, be minus, my bad, two negatives, because we get positive, so -60. It's also -75. So since we don't have any 0 over 0s, this is no solution. All right, finding the determinant here. So in a 3 by 3, when you find the determinant, what you're going to have to do is rewrite the first two columns over here. So 1, 2, -4, and then -3, -1, and -4. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to multiply and add our diagonals kind of at the same time. So we're going to start, hopefully I can circle these nice, at least so you get what I'm doing with those. So 1 times -1, which is -1, times -1 is 1. And then we're going to go this next diagonal here. -3 times -4 is 12. 12 times -4 is -48. And then we take this guy. Oops. 5 times 2 is 10. Times -4 is 40. Or sorry, -40. So that is going to equal -87. 7, I believe. And then we got to go the other way and do the same thing. So this one, so -1 or -4 times -1 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. And then -4 times -4 times 1 is 16. And then -1 times 2 times -3, so that's going to be 6. So that adds up to 42, it looks like. Yeah. And then we take and we subtract these. So -87 minus 42 is going to be -129 is your determinant there. So that's the determinant of a 3 by 3. All right, find the inverse of the matrix. So first thing you do is you got to find the determinant. So we would have 24 minus 10. So 24 minus 10 is 14. So we got to take 1 over 14 and then take that times. And the pattern is to switch these two. So 8 goes here, 3 goes here. Change the signs on those. So -5 and -2. And so then when you multiply everything out, you're going to get 8/14, -2/14, -5/14, and then 3/14. And for these, you don't need to worry about reducing these. You can just leave it there. So this is the inverse of that one. All right. Next, we're going to solve by using the inverse. So first, let's find our inverse. So our coefficient matrix is 3, 2, -9, and 3. So again, take 3 times 3, which is 9, minus, it's going to be -18. So then our determinant here is going to be 27. So we're going to take 1 over 27 and then times that by switching the 3's, which is still going to be 3, 3, and then change the signs here. So +9, -2. So our inverse matrix is going to end up being 3/27, oops, -2 over 27. 9 over 27. Again, you'll want to leave it like this. Don't simplify it. It makes it actually tougher. And then 3 over 27. So now to get our answer, we're going to take it times our constants. So times -12, the matrix -12, -18. So we're going to end up with the 2 by 2. Okay, so row 1, column 1. So 3 times -12 is -36 over 27 plus -2 times -18, so that would be 36 over 27. Hey, that's easy. That's going to be 0. And then this row times the column, so 9 times -12, -108 over 27. And then 3/27 times -18/27, so that's negative, let's see, 54, I believe, 27ths. So -108 minus 54 is -162 over 27. I'll just write that down here. And when we divide, we get an answer of -6. So the answer here is 0 for x, -6 for y. All right, I'm running out of time. I only can do 15-minute videos. So for the next problem, you'll just have to go to the next video I'm going to make. Just got one more review problem left.